let's turn on some nostalgia.
Sure. Yeah.
So, to start off, what's your favorite Might and Magic game?
So I would say Might and Magic 7 is my favorite. Mostly I think from a developer standpoint, because I feel like I mean Might and Magic 6 gets all the love. Everybody says one of the greatest RPGs of all time, was in Computer Gaming World's Hall of Fame when they were around, and so very popular game. But when we made Might and Magic 6, we, as at least as the level designers who became lead designers and we didn't know what we were doing really. My first experience as a designer was I sat down in my chair thinking I was a tester, and my boss came up to me with a hand-drawn picture of a house and said, "Here's the editor, build this." All right. And so we had to figure it out as we were going along. The editor didn't have any instructions. We had to try every little function and see what it did.
Wow.
And meanwhile we're very what's that metaphor, building the plane as you're flying it. Very much that.
Yeah.
And so by the time Might and Magic 7 came around, a lot of the Might and Magic 6 level designers, probably more than half of them, went on to work on Heroes 3. So it was me and Ken, and then a couple new guys. And me and Ken were experts at this software now. So we knew what the boundaries were. We knew how to push them. We knew how to make what we saw in our head. So the levels were a lot better. The gameplay was a lot better. It was with the branching light side and dark side. Even though technically people call it a shorter game, it was a bit longer just in terms of the work we took to do it.
Yeah. Because
of that light side, dark side split. So, that's why I like it. Then, Might and Magic 9 still has a soft spot in my heart, because it was, I really took ownership of that game. I really felt like that was my game. But Might and Magic 6 or Might and Magic 9 wasn't as fun game to play as MM7.
Yeah. It's kind of funny because I was kind of expecting that you would say Might and Magic 6 as well, and I was kind of thinking I would be the one to make the arguments of why I like Might and Magic 7 better.
There is
I do too.
my first credit as a game designer aspect of Might and Magic 6.
Oh yeah.
But by that time I had already had a bunch of credits as a tester, and it wasn't quite as a big deal as like, oh, my name's in the book. But I still like them. They're still both. I still love them both, but I like Might and Magic 7 just a little bit better.
Yeah. Me too. It's I remember playing it as a kid. I was stuck at the puzzle that you have to do at the light side, where you have to open up the floor in Celeste. It's like one of the trial quests, I think. And I was stuck for years before I found like walkthroughs on the internet. And it's like, what is this? Like 3 different buttons on each side, and that's
I think that was my quest. I think I wrote that.
Oh, really? So
sorry about that.
I think I had like, yeah, you ruined my shine.
I know I did Celeste. Celeste was one of my levels.
Oh yeah, but it's real fun, and even though I couldn't finish the quest at the time, I still I just ran around the world and like tried different ways of killing new monsters, and I was
that's the best part of
to
RPGs
respawn.
Is, you don't have to. You can follow the mainline quest if you want, but you don't have to. If you're a completionist, you can do everything. I was always one game I really loved was Fallout, and I've always been a completionist with those games. I got to do everything, and like I'd finish a mainline quest, and then I'd be like, okay, what else can I do? And I'd go and I'd start like searching the forums for what other quests are in the world, just so I could get them, just so I could do them.
Yeah. I don't know if you have seen this, but there's a Might and Magic merge
Yes, I
project.
have seen the merge mod,
Yes.
which is,
Oh yeah. Wait, you were playing
well,
the
I
merge,
wasn't
or
playing it.
no?
No,
Exactly.
Simmer
You
was
weren't
playing
playing,
it
but
because I was afraid that if I
yep.
played it, I'd make myself look stupid. You made this game. How do you not know where? Well, man, it's been a long 20 years. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that 20 years later, there's still people who are actively working on our dumb little game to make it more fun and better. Like when I was in, uh, well, I guess when I was in my late 20s, say, or I wasn't working on modding games that I'd played in the 80s. I mean, I was working on Might Magic at the time, but I wasn't going back and saying like, oh, let me hack Bard's Tale, let me hack Asa, whatever. Can't think of any games, but it's funny nowadays. There are people like I grew up on Intellivision, and nowadays there are people who are, well, Intellivision Commodore 64. There are people who are making new games both for Intellivision, like within the cartridge, and for the
Yeah.
Commodore 64. That's that blows me away that there's so much passion for those old systems that these people want to learn this archaic code so they can make a new game for this system that hasn't existed in 20 years.
I think I actually have some books about Commodore 64
Yeah.
programming
I
down in the
watched a
basement as
video of
well.
a guy doing it. I'm like, I kind of want to do that.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't have time. That's the
Exactly.
new shiny that I have to avoid,
Oh
is
yeah.
writing a Commodore 64 game.
Yeah.
But I do think about the driving daydreams about like, man, can you imagine if I were 14 and I'd actually made a role playing game
Yeah.
in Commodore 64 back then, have a little, oh, that would have been so awesome. Those are, I do think about that from time to time. How cool it would have been.
Yeah, I think about that as well, but then I go back to like the Heroes 3 editor instead, and I just like, I'll just do another
Yeah,
map
yeah,
for
I'll do
my
something I'm
12-year-old
still cool
project
with.
now.
There's speaking of Heroes 3, there have been a couple times where I've talked to a few of the level designers from Heroes 3, and
Yeah.
said, you guys should get together. You guys should get together and do a fan campaign for Heroes 3.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, that would be
And
something.
I'm still calling them out, Marcus and Mike specifically, and Jen. They, if they watch this, I'm calling you out to make a new campaign mod for Heroes 3. And Botan, David Botan. I love that guy. I miss that guy. All four of them. Those guys. Well, one of them said, I'll do it if you write the story. If I wrote the story. And oh man, I'd love to write the story. I don't really know how to write a Heroes 3 story, campaign story. And I'm really tied up on Aelin's Legacy. So I said no. But if they all get together, if all four of those guys ask me to write a story, I'll write a story for them.
So that's yet another shiny that you have to deal with now.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I'd love to do it. I wouldn't love to do it just so that like I got to write a story or I got to play a new Heroes 3 campaign. I would do it just so that people who love Heroes 3 could have another campaign by the original developers.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I'm kind of involved in a project that has something to do with this, but that's really all I can say at the moment.
Yeah, you mentioned that on the forums.
But
that'll be cool too.
Yeah. So it's gonna be great. But,
now let me ask you. I've never asked. I don't usually ask people questions when they're interviewing me, but if you had the choice between Heroes 3 and Heroes 4, or the New World Heroes and the rival Ubisoft Heroes games, which would you rather play?
I would play the newer Heroes.
You're not just saying that because I'm wearing a
no. I mean, I bought the new Heroes games, but pretty much I installed them. I played like one scenario or whatever, and then it's like It's not the same.
Yeah, I've heard people say it's
the
not
same
the
again.
same, but they're still
Yeah.
really popular, and you know um, they are spiritual successors, I'd say. You know, even if they're not
Really?
the original developers, it still plays very much the same, and Paul Romero is still doing the music.
Yeah.
Paul and Rob, I guess Rob's in there too.
Yeah.
Two more guys I
Yeah,
miss.
that's a really important part actually.
Yeah, those. You know, I one of the things that I've seen on Facebook a lot is the Heroes Orchestra. And this is another thing that just blows my mind. That that not only are people enough fans of the game, but love the music so much they started an entire orchestra to play that music. And I mean not just the Heroes Orchestra, but there's actually like legitimate national orchestras playing Heroes of Might and Magic music, and that's amazing to me.
Yeah,
Like kudos
it's
to Paul
incredible.
and Rob for writing such great music
Yeah.
that he gets to travel to Prague and play with an orchestra that he wrote.
Yeah, exactly. It's and as you say, it's like what is it now? It's 21 years I think now since the release of
Yeah,
Heroes 3, the original one.
yeah,
It's yeah, it's mind blowing, and I mean, there's also a lot of like fan made things for those games as well. That's still being developed. Like Wake of Gods was the first
oh
one
yeah,
that
yeah.
really like made the modding. It's maybe not the prettiest ones, but you know, it kind of
But
started
it's still,
the whole
people are
thing.
still
So
doing it. I really
yeah,
wish that like Might and Magic 9 we wanted to include an editor, and we just didn't have the time to implement it, and I really wish that we had, because maybe somebody would have made a fan made Might and Magic 9 game that wasn't as ugly and wasn't as buggy, and you know.
did you ever like go into plans of a 10th
I
game
did. I
or yeah?
so during the development of Might and Magic 9, I came out of the project um, kind of halfway through pre-production, and the original story was what ended up to be the Sea of Mist novel, and this guy Tom Ono, the guy who wrote the Might and Magic 7 strategy guide, he was the lead designer on Might and Magic 8. So he jumped on really, and the original story was going to be a lot like Might and Magic 8, where you started with a single character. You had to kind of find your party and stuff like that. And I thought when I came on and he left and James left, or James became a producer. James had been a designer. He became a producer. And I talked it over with the director, the design director, and I thought it felt too much like a JRPG, like Final Fantasy. And I
Yeah.
said, I don't think this will be Might and Magic. It's going to be a role-playing game. It might be a fun role-playing game, but it's not going to be Might and Magic. So I took the elements of his story that I liked, and I combined them together into this story on the same Rish, the same continent that Might and Magic 9 ended up on, and it was called Mendosis. It was the lower continent, and you can see some talk in Might and Magic 9 about Mendosis, like the raids on Mendosis, and some of the items talk about cities like Ronin Hall and things like that. So that was originally going to be Might and Magic 9. And then 3DO said, we want you to make Might and Magic 9 a PlayStation game, PlayStation 2. And so that went with PlayStation 2, that story. And we started working on that. We had some interesting ideas about how to re-envision Might and Magic on the PlayStation. And as we were working on that, 3DO came back to us and said, we want you to also make a PC game. And that the PC game will be Might and Magic 9, and the PlayStation game will be a Might and Magic game with Might and Magic whatever. And we said, okay, can they be related? Can they be the same game? And they said no. So I said, okay, well, what about if the PC game takes place in Chadian and they're like Vikings, and the Vikings are raiding Mendoza, and so when both these games come out, they'll be related to each other.
Yeah.
And so we started on that, and then the PlayStation game got canceled, and we were too far into the Chadian story to go back and say, oh, well, let's make everything Mendoza's now. So we stuck with the Chadian story, and I always, during Might and Magic 9, I always had that same Mendoza story in the back of my head. and then after it shipped, after Might and Magic 9 was abandoned, might be a better term than shipped, I jumped right back into that Mendoza story and started making the changes to make it Might and Magic 10. And that included like adding Nikolai and things like that. And it focused on a king who was under the influence of Archibald. We brought Archibald.
Mm-hmm.
And Archibald was under the influence of A. Shelton. So we were trying to tie it all together there, and then that I worked on that for maybe 2 months while we were working on the first patch for Might and Magic 9, and then the big axe came down on New World, and they didn't close New World at the time, but they cut all but about 10 people, and at the time we were probably 70. So that story got hacked or got axed, and I don't have any of those designs left anymore, unfortunately.
So that's one thing that actually got lost.
Yeah, there's a lot that at the time that got lost, and at the time I was like, whatever, man. I was kind of mad. I'd been there for almost 6 years, and they said, all right, thanks, later. So I threw away all the paper level design documents. I threw away a lot of the other like some design proposals that I'd done for John, and all this stuff that now is, I didn't think about it then, but now that's kind of historical documentation. Like, I mean, you'd probably like to have a paper map of Garrick's Forge or something.
Oh yes.
What? I threw it out because I was mad.
We all do things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I probably would have. There's a couple people who've hit me up on email saying, they're doing a role-playing museum or role-playing history, and they want to document it. And I've sent them some design documents from Might and Magic 9 that I still had digitally, and I sent them I had a really old build, it was a beta build of Might and Magic 9, and I was like, well, I've got it. I don't know if it'll work. I don't know if it'll run, but here you go. So at least there's that bit of history.
Yeah. There was also a fan question that came in that was asking about Might and Magic 9. Mm-hmm. If it was ever planned to be in the world of Enroth.
No. Well, nope. Not to my knowledge. So I came on after Heroes, or after Might and Magic 7 ended. I went on to Legends of Might and Magic, which I spent. It was a promotion for me. I was very excited about it. I spent a lot of time on that game while they made Might and Magic 8. And then by the time I moved, Legend was still in development. By the time I moved from Legends to Might and Magic 9, they'd already blown up Enroth. So as far as whether or not the original designers, whether or not Tom and James had any plans to make it in Enroth. I don't know. But I can tell you that part of the surprise twist at the end of Might and Magic 10 was that the players were going to have to go through this portal, the Ancients portal, to fight the Shelton, who was not the original Shelton, but he was like a clone or something, or another model of the same thing. The player would have to fight them, and they would end up talking to some of the Ancients who were rebuilding Enroth. So the end was going to be like a cutscene of this sort of reddish, pulsating like planetoid in the process of being created, and it was going to, because they were going to continue their study of whatever they were studying. Yeah. Whatever Enroth was for the study, it was going to continue. So they were going to rebuild it. But that didn't happen. But it would have been really cool, because I was never consulted when they blew up Enroth. I was never, because I would have been against it.
Yeah.
I nothing but respect for Jan and Terry and the Heroes crew, but I always kind of thought that the idea of two swords hitting each other in a battle would blow up the world was kind of cheesy.
Yeah. Actually, it's not the best ending when you think of it.
I mean, I don't even know if they built it up during either of the Heroes games that they worked on, but and the way they put it too, the way they phrased it was kind of cheesy too.
And I think like the whole the reckoning happening was also kind of downplayed.
Yeah, like it was
so it was only like
oh hey, we blew up the world you've grown to love. By the way, exactly. So this is a new world.
Yeah, here you go. Enjoy.
I mean, on the other hand, it did give us as designers a new playground where we weren't constrained by anything, and it also gave us the opportunity to not ruin something you guys had loved. Yeah. Like, can you imagine Might and Magic 9 and Enroth and everything is suddenly this game that wasn't finished is a stain on Enroth. Well, no, it's a stain on Rish. But we were fortunately they didn't get into the specifics on who survived, how they survived, whether or not they could survive. So that gave me an opening to bring over whoever I wanted into this new continent, which is why, even though Nikolai in Might and Magic 9 was kind of like a little side joke, he was going to have a big plan, big story in Mendosis.
Yeah, for the 10th, for the big 10th.
Yeah, he was going to be he was going to be the leader of the rebellion. Like, he finally got his shit together, and now he might have ended up being the king of Mendosis.
Yeah. So from the little kid.
And I mean, that's not without precedent. I mean, that happened from Heroes 1 to Heroes 2. Or was it from Might and Magic, from Zine? It was probably Zine to Heroes 1. It was Heroes 1 where they crossed through the world. That they didn't. There wasn't a cutscene for that at all. So if you didn't read the manual in Heroes 1, you didn't know. I don't remember now. Maybe there was a cutscene about it. About
I think you're right.
First king, Lord Iron Fist, crossing over into this new continent, and then he had to seize control of it, which set up the Archibald and Roland conflict in Heroes 2.
Yeah, exactly. That's the Heroes 2 storyline with the portraits hanging on the wall.
Yeah, choose your lord. It was funny. So I did some voiceover for the second demo video. So I've done some promo videos for Aelin's Legacy, and I did the voiceovers for it. Okay. I don't know if you've seen it, but
I have.
that same RPG Codex thread. It gets updated periodically. They'll probably put this on there. They'll probably be very excited that I talked about them.
Yeah.
And the shit talking they gave me. So the last thread, somebody posted that video and said, "Is this the same guy who did the voiceovers for Might and Magic 7? Who's the same guy who did the voiceovers for Heroes 2, and who did the voiceovers for?" They don't know. They're not sure. The answer is no. The guy who did that is, I think it's Cy Prescott. He was also the guy who did the voiceovers for Might and Magic 9. No, it was me. It was me, just using my very deep voice.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I'm gonna think that they're gonna bash me, if anyone, for this interview.
Well, apparently it's a badge of honor. That they really like you.
Yeah.
I like that older stepbrother who says, "I only beat you up because I like you."
Yep, I was the little brother, so I know. So Greg Fulton is also making like a spiritual successor now for the Heroes.
That's still pretty new. Fan Stratix.
Yeah, I think that's the pronunciation. Yeah, Fan Stratix. Yeah.
Not the best name. He's acknowledged that on his page. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's exciting news. And you know, as a gamer, I've never loved Heroes, but as a developer and as a fan of indie games and as a fan of all my friends, I love it. I love that Greg is, because after Heroes 3, he kind of dropped off the map. And suddenly he comes back with this big and bold announcement he's doing a Heroes game. That's great. I love it.
Yeah, and I think he mentioned that he was just announcing it to help out David Mullick.
Really?
Or Mullick, yeah. So yeah,
Sir
Mullick, yeah. Sir Mullick, yeah.
That's weird, because
so he was just
he's one of the very few Might and Magic guys who's still working in the industry. He's still, like, he does a lot of consulting. He did a lot of teaching. He invited me to a couple years ago to do maybe that was last year, to do a talk at one of his classes at the LA Film School.
Oh yeah, because he has classes. Yeah, because I think that's when he was going to bring it up as well. Like he was, damn you, memory. Yeah, this is why I can't remember lore for the Heroes games and all that when it comes to the interview.
Yeah, me neither. You know, a lot of times people ask me these. I think Cybernethy got some heat for asking really obscure questions, and he's like, "What? He approved it. I gave him the questions beforehand. He approved them." and I'm just like, I don't remember. You know, there was a lot of living between Might and Magic 9 and now. A lot of
you don't remember everything either, so
yeah. So yeah, I don't know to what extent David's going to have on Fan Stratix. He's because of that same sort of, he's got a job and they may not look kindly on him working independently. I know he said he's reached out to some old timers. He hasn't reached out to me, but I'm not surprised. I was Might and Magic. I wasn't Heroes, so you know, I don't know what I can contribute to that.
Yeah, was there a big difference like between the two games, and like how did you intertwine the stories and all that?
There wasn't we were all friends, you know. We'd go out and you know, go to each other's parties and stuff like that. So there wasn't like we're Heroes and no, we're Might and Magic. F you guys. No, we're all like, personally, we were good friends.
Yeah.
But you know, Heroes and Might and Magic are very, very different games. And so before Heroes 3, all of the designers were basically working on Might and Magic 6. and then once Might and Magic 6 was done, some of them who showed an aptitude for the Heroes 3 sort of gameplay and level design and design, they split off and worked on that. And those of us who were clearly more skilled, and I don't mean more skilled than them, but more skilled because ourselves, we stayed on Might and Magic. And me, I loved role-playing games more than I like strategy games. So it made sense for me to stay on Might and Magic and then instead of going to Heroes. so we split and our skills kind of diverged. I don't know that I could make a really kick-ass Heroes 3 level. I don't know. I don't know if I'd want to. I could make a good 3D level, but I don't know. I don't know where I'm going tough with this.
Yeah. Yeah, but I understand what you mean. It's like it's a difference. I mean, they are the same series. They have the same sort of stories.
Yeah.
Even though, if you go really deep into it, you're gonna find some differences, but still, overall, they're pretty much the same in story-wise.
Yeah. Like if Greg called me and said, "Hey, you want to write a story for some campaigns?" I'd probably, if I had time, I'd agree.
Yeah.
But if he says, "Hey, you want to make some levels?" Yeah, maybe call David. Maybe call Botan.
Yeah. So, do you still lurk around in the Might and Magic forums? Or
from time to time, not as much as I used to. I still. I am on the Might and Magic Discord, and I will post there occasionally. But I spend so much time on Eowyn's Legacy. I don't lurk like I used to.
Yeah. And how do you feel about still talking about Might and Magic over and over, even though you have these new games going on?
It's fine. It's great to have worked on something that affected so many people so deeply that 20 years later they're still into it. And so I don't mind talking about it. I'll talk about it all day, as long as we can throw in some Eowyn's Legacy, maybe some game design theory. I'm happy. I'm happy that I had the opportunity to even be a part of that. You're like when you start getting into life's purposes, to have had an impact on people in a positive way is great. I mean, in the indie community, I think a lot of the indie game developers would kill to be in a position I'm in. And so I'm very thankful, ultimately thankful that I have an opportunity to still talk to people about a game, even if I don't exactly remember what what level the button for the bridge at this other level, even if I don't remember all that stuff, I'll try. Even when I was doing the thing with Sib, the levels were brand new to me practically. And I've been through those levels 1,000 times. I made those levels, and where does this go? I don't know.
But that's the fun part, I think.
It's cool that like that's the first time I've played Might and Magic since it was released.
Yeah.
I don't really make a habit of going back and playing my old games. So it's nice to go back, and back then I played Might and Magic 6 until I hated it. Because I saw it broken, I saw it even more broken, I saw it even more broken than that, and when, as level designers at the time, when our job as a level designer was done, we had to be testers. And so, I played that game hundreds of times, thousands of times. I mean, now there's probably people who played it more than me back then, but so, once it's done and out, I don't want to look at it again.
Yeah.
The same thing with Might and Magic 9. I played that in French. I played it in Italian. I don't even speak those languages.
Yeah.
You're like, the only reason I played him is because I knew what he was saying. you know, um, so to come back now and play him as almost like a fan, as a player, rediscovering it's cool. Although I don't play it a lot because I'm, again, working on Anyone's Legacy.
Yeah. Did you go into the what is it called, like the producer dungeon? Where you find a small bottle and
the
then
New World dungeon.
Yeah, the New World dungeon. Thank you.
I made those. I made most of them. I made
yeah.
the Might Magic 6 and Might Magic 7 ones. I don't know if they made new ones on Might Magic 8 or if they just copied the old one.
I can't remember either.
Yeah. No, I have not been in those, but I'm in there. If you play, you'll find me at my desk.
Yeah, exactly. That's the most important part.
Yeah.
So you're still with New World in some terms.
Yeah, it'll always be there.
Exactly. You will be forever working on the Might and Magic 10 game.
There could be worse fates in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Imagine if I was a shit shoveler.
It's kind of funny as well, like, because you mentioned like people are still playing it now 20 years later, but also I think, there are new players that are also finding these games. And like I put my younger brother when he was like 5 or 6 or something, like just in front of Heroes, and he was like, wow, yeah, I want to play that Basilisk game again. And then we were like, making maps.
Especially back then, Heroes 2 and 3, the colors were very appealing, I think, to younger players. Same thing with Might and Magic 6. They're very, very, very colorful. My game, Anyone's Legacy, is not that colorful, but maybe 20 years from now, somebody who's 18 will be interviewing me about Anyone's Legacy.
Oh yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. That's always tough to think about. It's like
in the nursing home, but
I remember
back in my day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. What do you think, like, about the game industry's future? It's like a lot of it now is like DLCs and like mobile games.
I think I mean the game industry is going to survive. I think the idea of paying for content after you paid for the game. I hope the industry will grow out of that. Because it just it exploded in the console, or not the console, it exploded on the mobile phones, and then all the consoles and PC developers are like, wow, they're making a lot of money on these phones. How do we get some of that in our game? But the pay to play works better, I think, for a casual iPhone game, better than it does for like Alien's Legacy. Now, having said that, my plan for Alien's Legacy will be that I'm not going to charge for new content, but as the game gets more, as there's more content in the game, I'll probably be charging more as it gets bigger. And that's just
the base price.
Yeah, like you're not going to want to pay $15 or $20 for a demo in one chapter.
Yeah.
But and that's just to help fund the game. This ain't going to make me rich. So
yeah.
But it's not going to be $60. It's not, and I'm not going to. Once you've paid for it, you've paid for it. You're not going to pay more just to get the next chapter. If I did an expansion pack after the fact, well, maybe it'll be a cheaper expansion pack, $5 for a box of levels or something. I don't know.
That's what you're saying now, but then you will grow greedy and mad.
I'll be like
you will end up paying like $50 for a weapon skin or something.
$60 for the sword.
Yeah, and it will blow up the entire world.
I say, listen, I gotta buy
It's
a
kind of
yacht.
crazy.
I need a yacht, man.
Yeah, exactly. I was playing Era of Chaos. It's Ubisoft's latest Might and
Yeah.
Magic release for mobile phones.
Oh,
Actually, I was
right,
even a
right. I've seen that. It's
moderator.
like it's
Yeah,
Heroes, right? It's like a
yeah, exactly. It's like they go back to like Heroes 3, but it's sort of like anime
yeah.
stuff, So it's. But I was like, I'm gonna give it a try, and then I ended up being a moderator, so I got some diamonds,
Yeah.
to work for them, and then I just realized like, what am I doing, and why am I playing this game? It's
Well,
like, they.
it, it's a lot like Star Trek,
Yeah.
right? And so I'm on some Star Trek forums on Facebook, and all they do is just hate on all the new Star Treks, all the new J.J. Abrams. They hated Discovery. They hate Picard. They hate it all, and it always upsets me because they're fans of Star Trek, but you can't just be a fan of the old stuff.
Yeah.
It like I quoted Kirk when he said, "Fresh minds, new ideas." You know, and I loved Picard, and I love their new cartoon, Lower Decks. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's great.
Hmm.
And so I mean, like as a developer of Might and Magic, am I happy that players are hating on the new games that Ubisoft is doing? No, it's they're continuing this legacy that goes all the way back to when John Van Caneghem was in college. And so to keep it going, I mean, that's not going to hurt me for them to make a great game. It's just going to reinvigorate people to ask me about Might and Magic and maybe learn about Aelwyn's legacy.
Yeah.
So even though like I played Might and Magic X Legacy, and it didn't. I wasn't a fan of it, but I love that they did it, and I love that they're hopefully they're going to continue to make this stuff and keep things going. You just if someone were to ask me, should I like the new Heroes and Might and Magic games that Ubisoft, the big demon company, is making, I say, well, you don't have to love them, but give them an honest chance with an open mind. Don't play them thinking it's going to be Might and Magic 6. Play them thinking that it's a new game from a new brand. And it like the new Star Wars movies, the new Star Wars trilogy, as a sequel to the original trilogy, it's not very strong. It's particularly like, well, just take Last Jedi, which everyone hates. As a middle movie in a trilogy, it's as a middle movie in a Star Wars trilogy that completely blows up everything Star Wars has ever done. It's very bad. But as a middle movie in a Star Wars trilogy that, like, if that had nothing to do with Luke Skywalker, if that was just random Jedi dude saying the Jedi must end, I think that movie would be great. But because it goes and it sticks its finger out at all the old lore, it's there's a cat.
Hello.
I'm surprised my dog hasn't done that. But as a movie by itself, I think that if it weren't part of Luke Skywalker's trilogy, I think I would have loved it. But because it's I don't know where I'm going with it. But
yeah, but I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, and I went to see one of those newer ones in the theaters, and I was like, yeah, actually, this is quite good. Maybe I should rewatch all the old ones.
You got to take them with an open mind. You got to take them like, these are not going to be the movies I grew up watching, or I grew up watching, and then you'll enjoy them. I mean, they have their plot, their continuity issues with the old stuff, but I'm sure that the Might and Magic stuff does too.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
I mean, on the flip side of that, I thought that Rogue One was great. I thought Solo
Yeah.
was great. Nobody liked it, but I liked it. you know. And it's the same thing with Might and Magic. You can't. Well, you can, but as a developer, I say, please don't just hate them for making this stuff, because if you hate it and don't buy it, then they're not going to make any more. Like if you want to play the old stuff, there's indie people who are making old stuff like me. But keep it going, keep playing them. But don't play them expecting it's going to be something different. Even Might and Magic 6, 7, and 8 were completely different from the Zine trilogy. Like we took a big left turn there. And then the Zine stuff was a huge change from the original Might and Magic 1 and 2 and 3. So things change. And today, if New World had kept going, by now, who knows what Heroes would have been like. Might and Magic probably wouldn't have been like what I'm making.
Yeah. I wonder what number of Might and Magic we would be on
at least
right now,
at least
like
15.
Yeah.
Maybe 20.
Yeah.
We probably would have stopped.
Wasn't it like maybe? Yeah.
There comes a point, maybe. I think, where too many numbers is just ridiculous. You got to start like Crusaders of Might and Magic kind of thing.
Yeah. Isn't it Final Fantasy? How many games? What is that, like XIV and
12 part 2 or something? They and that, yeah, that's pretty wacky, but
yeah, but as you're saying, I mean, like technology goes onward as well, and it's gonna be a different experience. I think like they actually they started Era of Chaos quite okay, I think. But then they started introducing these premium heroes that are like $90 to get. And you can only get them by paying real money. So it's like $90 to get it at 3 stars, and it starts to get good at 5. Exactly.
Or an ATM. You can't ever treat your players like an ATM. That's disrespectful.
Yeah, so I kind of went on a rampage in our management on the Discord there, and I told them like, you kind of lost it, and I'm out. So yeah. Yes. So back in 2004, as a little closing here. That was the last time you did an interview with the page that I'm interviewing you for here. So it's for Celestial Heavens.
Hey, Celestial Heavens.
And, yeah.
I love that site's still around.
Yeah, me too. I just recently became a moderator. And,
cool.
Yeah. So I do some writing, so I'm hopefully going to make an article.
You're going to have to do this in like 6 parts. I warned you, though. I talk. I love to tell stories, and I'll just keep going.
It's great. I think my nervosity kind of got the best of me as well. So my English is normally not this bad.
Oh, you're fine. You have not said. I know people who are native speakers who I can understand less than you. And if you heard me speak Swedish, you'd be like, I can't speak Swedish, so so there's that.
Maybe we should teach you some Swedish. Yeah.
And I know some genealogy words.
Yeah. You should learn some Swedish.
Honor
your heritage.
My niece's girlfriend is fluent in Swedish, and I didn't even mention my niece. She's doing the player portraits. I forgot about her.
Oh, nice.
Player portraits for us. Yeah, so her girlfriend is, her parents are from Sweden. They're from, I think they're from Stockholm. Yeah. So they went over there, and she learned Swedish, and I only know the dirty words.
Yeah, that's the only important parts.
And Well, Might and Magic 9 had a lot of bastardized Swedish words as names. Not just Arslegard, but Forad Dar, I think somebody called that one out pretty easily. That was a bastardized version of traitor, I think.
Oh yeah, it's förrädare.
I went to like an English to Swedish translator, and I just typed in traitor. And, okay, there, perfect.
Just take away the 2 points over the ace and the
Englishified it.
Yep. Yeah, so back in 2004, you were asked 3 questions that are sort of like
was this with
classical questions.
The EA Picture interview?
Yeah, exactly, with the Corona beer. It's we're gonna spread a conspiracy to get this video even bigger now. Yeah. And you didn't?
Yeah, I didn't think that it was a Corona beer, and now it's a coronavirus.
And you're making a new game. Oh, that's even better. Yeah, that's correct. Damn. So yeah, that's even more connections that I didn't think of. So those 3 questions it's the same that you probably have in front of you.
Yeah, go ahead.
The first one,
because I only see.
Yeah. Is might or magic?
I was always might, and you'll ask anybody, and I think I'm a little more magic now than I was, but I was always might before. Yeah.
That's a mysterious answer.
Well, I don't know. I always like the hard charging. I'm gonna bash them with a stick and just get it done kind of attitude. So I always picked the more actiony type of thing. Because when you got all the spellcasters, they're gonna, if you get too close, they're gonna get beat up. So you got to kind of stay back and slow it down and go into turn-based mode. And don't give me that. I'm just gonna. Same thing with D&D.
Yeah.
I always play some variety of a fighter.
So you always rush in first in the D&D. Yeah.
I'm gonna hit him with my sword. I'm gonna attack.
I was actually invited quite recently for my first Dungeons and Dragons game. I've been trying to find people to play with for so long.
Yeah.
And I finally got a party.
Nice. Good.
And they were like, "Man, just stop rushing into everything." So actually, like, my own party was like attacking me to like tell me to back off.
I gotta bear hug him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started a game with my girlfriend recently, and now another friend who I play hockey with is like, "Hey, I want to play D&D." So now I'm trying to figure out like I want to design a little sort of add-on mod thing, so you don't need like a dungeon master, but you play by the rules. So basically, it'd be like a dungeon crawl where on when somebody's going through a door in a dungeon, you click a button on something and it generates a random room, and then you go in the room and.
Yeah, because there are those board games too.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of board
also
games.
Like do dungeon crawl.
Yeah, and that's kind of like I play a lot of Zombicide, and that's kind of what got the idea going.
Oh yeah.
But
new
shiny.
Yeah, exactly. Everything is time draining. But you play hockey as well?
I do. I play, well, not right now, but I've been playing ice hockey twice a week for all the way back to Might and Magic 9. No, to Legends, when I was on Legends. So Tom, that same guy Tom, who was the lead designer of Might and Magic 8, he had a team at a roller rink by the office. And he's like, "Hey, we need players. You want to come play?" And I said, "Yeah." And I literally played ever since.
So is it ice hockey that you're playing then, or is it roller hockey?
Yeah, I started ice hockey. I started ice hockey right after I ended at New World.
Oh. And you hadn't played before ever?
No. I'd been playing like pickup roller hockey since I was 22. So At least 22. I'm not very good, but
It's funny. It must be your Swedish
it must be. That's what I
heritage.
always say. But my
Yeah.
dad can't skate, so and he's the one whose family's all from Sweden.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I come from a family of hockey players as
Nice.
well, so I still play.
Who's your favorite player?
I
You like Forsberg?
Well, of course I gotta like
Yeah,
Forsberg, but I
right.
think Jaromir Jagr is one of
Oh,
my
Yager's
favorites,
great.
with a
The
mullet.
fact that he's Yager's my age and he's still
Yeah.
still a pro.
Yeah,
That blows me
he's
away, man.
insane. Yeah, he's crazy. It's yeah, and of course, since I'm a Washington fan, I have to
Oh,
have
Ov.
to root for Uvi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm from LA, so I'm a Kings fan.
Oh, there's all.
There's not.
Isn't
I don't even know who's on
San
the team.
Jose is
Huh?
California's. Isn't San Jose?
San Jose, yeah,
California
but I'm
too?
in
Yeah.
LA, so San Jose is
Oh, yeah.
further north.
Oh, I see. So the LA Kings, yeah.
The Kings, yeah.
Yeah. They used to be
It
good.
used to be good, yeah. Man, Toffoli, he's my favorite player, and now he's in Vancouver.
Oof. And they got eliminated last night.
Vancouver did? Wanted to
Yeah.
watch that game. I forgot.
Yeah. It sucks being Swedish and watching NHL. It's like some games go on in like 3 a.m.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. These have
when it's the
especially
playoffs,
been going on overtime.
Oh, yeah. Oof. Yeah, I remember like going to work at like 2 hours of sleep,
Yeah.
because I had to watch
I'm
the
sorry, I
playoffs
watch
game.
hockey. Well, I've gone to work on 2 hours of sleep after watching a hockey game too.
Yeah.
It was mostly after playing a hockey game, right? So we play, and then we
yeah.
go to a bar, and then I can't sleep.
Yeah. It's insane the adrenaline you
Yeah,
get from
yeah.
playing.
Like
is,
especially those late games. Like we got 10:30 games sometimes, and then
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same thing for you guys then.
Oh,
It's- When you're in the lower divisions, it's like, there's a time slot here somewhere.
yeah. Well,
maybe like
at
midnight.
my rank, the highest division plays on Monday.
Hmm.
So, like, we're lucky. We usually get Sunday games, but
Yeah. That's better.
I do play on a Wednesday league. It's a higher level, but I'm the worst player in the league almost. But it's fun. It makes you a better player, right?
Yeah, of course, of course. What position are you?
I normally play defense,
Defense.
but in various teams, I've played all different positions. So, like
Yeah.
tournaments, I've played wing and center. Sometimes I've played, but I'm mostly the defenseman.
Yeah. Poor goalie. I'm a goalie, so
That's
I
a
know
good-
how it is to have the.
Yeah, my favorite thing is screening. When I
Yeah.
play forward, that's all I do. I act like I'm a defenseman, and then the other guys score.
Yeah. If you have a picture, you have to send over a picture in your hockey.
Oh,
gear.
I've got a ton. I'll send you some. Mind me, I'll send you a bunch.
Yeah. Yeah, great. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, remind me all the stuff I
Uh,
said I was going to send you in this, or I'll forget.
Oh yeah. Yep. So the last question then is Black Dragons or Titans?
I got to think about this. Titans
Yeah.
were cheaper than Black Dragons, if I remember right. But dragons are more powerful.
And immune to all magic?
Yeah,
I think Black Dragons are, yeah.
I think I said Titans last time because they're cheaper, but I really think Black Dragons. But those were always hard to get. All of them were hard,
Yeah.
And you get killed. They get killed. You're like, oh, quit, restart.
I lost one, yep. Yeah, that's the worst. Or when you use your dragon to attack one of your enemies and you accidentally spray your...
Oh yeah,
Oh, no.
collateral damage.
Yeah, because they had the 2 hex attacks. And you've been going for like 20 minutes, it's like, okay, I'm not gonna save or do a reload on this one, so...
Yeah, right. I don't want to play this whole battle again.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, there's a dog.
Will my dogs show up?
Yep. That's good.
Not getting rats.
We're even. Maybe it was... That would also be fun if there was a rat coming on.
Yeah, that would be. I'd be surprised actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think it's time that we wrap this
Okay.
up.
Well, thanks for
So-
thanks for having me. I always appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much for being on, and yeah, looking forward to the hockey pictures.
Yeah,